got something to tell you about poetry, but, shh, it's a bit of a secret. Come closer. Yes, that's right, you heard me. No right answers. In fact, the beauty of poetry is that you can never, ever be wrong. There's no one absolute definition to a poem, no one real meaning, no right answers. As soon as you realise and accept this wonderful idea, the whole world of poetry opens up to you. Imagine this for a moment. A poem is just like a painting. It's a piece of art, written, created to have an effect on the reader. That's you. So it doesn't matter what anybody else's opinion is about that poem. What matters is your opinion. Bottom line. So speak up. Now, there are some very simple steps you can take towards unlocking a poem you've never seen before. So when you're next faced with this challenge, just remember this 3-step rule.
Structure, language, tone. Achieving a high mark in the exams comes down to being able to write perceptively about structure, so it's worth considering this in some depth. Let's take a look at Kid by Simon Armitage. When we first see the poem on the white page, we notice it's all one long stanza, which makes it feel dense, almost threatening, as do the lengths of the lines. They're all a similar length, which implies a sense of control and force. Looking at the words themselves, they're all short, 1 or 2 syllables only, which perhaps implies anger. And some of those words are hyphenated, which further emphasises the density of the poem. Going to the ends of the lines, the punctuation marks are many. Now, punctuation is usually used to control things, and every line ends with the same sound, This feels aggressive and disrespectful, and certainly, if you read the poem aloud to yourself, you'll find this coming through.
Having had a look at the way that the poem physically looks on the page, what crazy, far-out idea can you come up with about what the poet might have been trying to do?
Remember, poems are just like paintings. They're pieces of art created to have an effect on the audience, and the poet's paint is the language and the techniques he or she chooses. So take a good look, but don't just feature spot. Ooh, look, there's a metaphor, aren't I clever? Well, no. Instead, look at why the poet might have been trying to use that metaphor. So in Storm in the Black Forest by D.H. Lawrence, he does use noun phrases and repetition and all these other wonderful techniques, but it's your job to work out why he might have been doing that. And remember, it's your opinion that gets the examiner interested.
Looking carefully at the words and phrases the poet uses and how they use them will really lead you to a deeper understanding of what they might have been trying to do and how they were feeling when they wrote the poem. And this brings us on to our last step.
When people are speaking, you can tell how they're feeling by the sound of their voice. This is their tone. Poems have a tone too, but instead of listening to someone's voice, you're imagining it instead by considering the sort of words that are used. So when we're looking at the first 3 stanzas of Medusa by Carol Ann Duffy here, we can see that there are certain words that instantly leap out at us. I've picked a few out in colour for you. We can also spot some patterns. There's a very negative pattern emerging, and some contrasts. Look at the subject matter of stanza 1 in comparison to that of stanza 3. And finally, look out for those words and phrases that reveal emotion. Terrified, love, betray.
So ask yourself, is the tone of the poem moody? Is it dark? Is it mysterious? Is it depressed? Or is it a much lighter tone? Is it fun? Is it happy? Is it colourful? Is it a cheeky tone, perhaps? So remember, success in the poetry part of your exams is all about being brave. So go on, stick your neck out, put your idea out there. You never know. It might become the greatest literary point the critical world has ever seen.